All right, so what I did, I went in, did a Olympic weightlifting PowerPoint, just went over some of the basic rules, regulations, kind of what Olympic weightlifting is the definition, so to speak. Went into a little bit of history. First events were to test strength. They were held in 1896. This was in Vienna. Most of the winners were, it's kind of a fun fact, were butchers. So a lot of the people that participated, they dealt with very large mammals. So they were generally the stronger individuals. So they were mainly the winners. So it's pretty neat, fun fact. 1896 to 1924, generally only the Olympics. So it was every 4 years. Included 5 different events. It was snatch, clean and jerk. It was the one-arm snatch, the one-arm clean and jerk, and then the press. So it was 5 different exercises, and they were total. So obviously that is not the format now, and we will go into that. But 1972 was the last international competition, which consisted of the press. During this period of time, from 24 to 72, you had a extremely wide variety of athletes, ranging from smaller to bigger, and there were no weight classes. So generally, your bigger athletes would always win. It was generally a matter of size. So not necessarily the most fair game, but 72 into 92, you had just the snatch and clean and jerk. You had the start of some weight classes, and I'm not going to go into those because that's not the actual format now. So they've changed quite a bit. 92 marked the beginning of new weight classes. We're starting to talk about something that's very now. So it's more of the present type weight classes. 96 was the beginning of women able to participate big time in Olympic weightlifting. The total weightlifted and snatch and clean and jerk is the definition of Olympic weightlifting. It's simple. Nowadays, it strictly runs down to how much can you lift. So with it only being 2 exercises, the format is pretty fun. But we'll go into the format of the actual competitions. Just to give you an idea on what the snatch is, I posted some videos too. But the snatch begins on the floor. We'll start from left to right, those top pictures there. So the snatch starts on the floor. It moves its way up toward the thigh, breaks at the hip, and then there's an explosion type movement, generally upward. Should be upward, sometimes you could say outward, but should be upward. Catching the bar overhead in a full squat position and then standing up with it. So it's all one motion, but that is the snatch. So the major differences here, and we're going to go over the clean and jerk here in a second, is you'll notice the hand position is a little bit wider than this next picture that I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is Christina Iovu. She actually just participated in Rio as well and the World Weightlifting Championships last year. Coming up this year, she'll be participating as well. So, but this right here is the clean and jerk, starting from the left to right at the top. The weight starts on the floor, just like the snatch. You can't really tell it here, but her hands are actually significantly closer. And the weight's going to start at the floor, it's going to move up the leg toward the thigh. It doesn't get as high as the snatch. Notice the snatch, you're going to generally get right around the hip level, right at the hip flexor. The clean and jerk never really gets to that point whenever you're talking about contact. It's generally a little bit lower on the leg. But you're going to catch the bar. This right here would be your catch position, and we're going to talk about those later on. But your elbows are going to be up. You're going to be in a full squat position, similar to a front squat. Stand up. You're going to get to the position just before you're going to do the jerk portion. Okay? Which you just say right here, you're going to dip, you're going to drive up, and then you're going to catch in a split jerk position. All right, there's also another version of the jerk that we'll go over later on. But the bar is now overhead, so it goes from floor to shoulders to overhead in some manner, and then that would be the end of the clean and jerk. So there's multiple ways to end up getting there, but we'll talk about those later on. So weight classes. So these right here are the current weight classes. Obviously, with it being a weight class sport, diet, nutrition, very, very key. So understanding your height, understanding what you need to do from a nutritional standpoint to stay within your weight class or close to your weight class to make sure you're going to be successful. You don't find too many guys who are, or females, who are 85, I'd say, actually I'll probably say 77 and below that are tall. You can have some 85s that are taller, they're just very stronger athletes. Most of your 77s are going to be fairly short. 85 and above, you have some very tall athletes. The top 105 in the world right now, and 105 plus is well over 6'2". There's a lot of movement of that bar. And there's a lot of work being done to actually complete the list. But the male weight classes that start at 56, they work their way up to 105 plus. So I was gonna put the pounds in there, but I didn't. 77 is about 170. 94 is right around the 210 range.
They ever talked about why there's such a giant gap for women between, you go 69 and 75, so we're talking really 6 kilo jumps or less, but then you go 75 to 90.
Well, I'll tell you what's crazy is they actually, this right here is brand new.
Yeah, it used to be 75 plus.
Yeah,
right?
It used to be the 75 plus. Now, I don't understand the 15 kilo jump. I know me being a competitor and seeing actual individuals lift is generally within this range. If you're over 75, you're going to be one of two things. You're either going to be about 280 pounds, okay, or you're going to be right around, I'd say 205-ish, 200-ish. Okay, so there's really no in between. You don't find many 230s, 240s, stuff like that. You're either really freaking big or you're really freaking small. That's one thing I found with females. It's really the only possible idea I have for that 15 kilo jump there. Because then you have your 90 plus, and I don't foresee. I think this is going to make it very interesting for international competitions, which we're going to go over later on. But for international competitions, it's going to be interesting to see how many people actually compete in that 90 kilo weight class.
My gosh, 75 kilos for a well-muscled female is easy to go over $165.
Oh, 100%. Easy. 100%. And so it's going to be a little interesting to figure out what they're going to do. It's a lot of space there. If you're going to end up being 75, then do you jump to 90? Do you not? So.
I started to pull your
90 plus. That's not really going to change. You're going to have pretty much every plus 75 is going to be in that category. But we'll talk about some of those females later on. Some of the big names. I'll YouTube a few of them and show a few. But those are your weight classes now. Like I said, the 90 kilo and the 90 kilogram plus for females is brand new. So going to competition. A lot of people don't understand actual Olympic weightlifting competitions. So the main rules and some of your main regulations, there's 3 judges. Those 3 judges are going to look at every single movement in which you do. They're going to look at where your body lands. They're going to look at how your body lands during the actual movement. They're going to look at where it finishes. There's so many different things that go through their head. Every level is stricter or less strict depending on where you're at. So some of your very local competitions you're going to see at CrossFit gyms and stuff like that. You're going to see some press outs. You're going to see some stuff like that. So, but your international competition, I don't see very, very many items that are left to wonder. But 3 judges, 3 attempts per lift. So you're gonna have 3 attempts at the snatch, 3 attempts at the clean and jerk, no matter what. Now, let's say you have an athlete who ends up bombing out on the snatch. Okay, so they go 0 for 3 in the snatch. They can continue to clean and jerk. Obviously, they have no chance of winning because the total is actually counted. But they can continue to clean and jerk. That is always left up to the athlete or the coach of that athlete. So they are allowed to. Same goes for snatch, or same goes for clean and jerk if you bomb out on that. So you can go 3 for 3 on snatch. You record your best. You go 0 for on clean and jerk. Then the total that you put down is going to be whatever your best snatch was. So, but you can never go down in weight. So if this is something that a lot of people don't understand, but if let's say your starting weight for a snatch is 100 kilos, you can never say while you're in the warm-up area and the competition has started, I want to jump down to 98. or if you say, I want to go up to 105, and then suddenly 105 doesn't seem like the right call, and you want to jump down to 103, you can't do that. So you can only go up or stay the same. Something I didn't put down here is time clock. Every athlete has 2 minutes to complete their lift. If they go up, just for example, athlete A has 100 kilos on their snatch, they miss that rep, and they want to do that same weight again, they're going to have 2 minutes to get back down on the platform and do that rep. So now, if you end up changing to 101, 102 after your miss, then they're going to stop the clock, they're going to put the weight on, and then they restart the clock. So you actually get a little bit more, can be used for more of a strategic move sometimes, if you need more time. So, but weigh-ins are typically the same day as the meet. I think that's a little different than some powerlifting meets. I think you have like your pre-24-hour weigh-ins and stuff like that, sometimes even 48 maybe. But weigh-ins are typically on the same day as the meet. Every meet I've done has been 2 hours prior. All the big-time international meets is generally the morning of. But good lifts, just to tell you what's going to give you 3 white flags or 3 white lights. Your elbow's locked out. As long as your elbow's locked out in a singular movement, then so far you're doing pretty good. Nothing can touch the ground but your feet. That's it. So if any part of your body, if your butt touches the ground, if you end up getting on a knee because you miss the rep a little in front, but you still save the rep, that's a red flag. You're not going to get anything for that. It's not going to be a good rep. You have to pause at the top until there's a judge that either one tells you to put it down, or there's a sound that tells you to put it down. Generally, it can be a beep, or there's a judge in front that says down. So, but bad lifts, press out. And what I mean by press out is if you catch, all right, like in a jerk, I catch the bar and then I suddenly press out at the top. All right, at the end of that lift, that's generally considered a press out. So, but something other than your feet actually touch the ground. It's kind of a funny story. You might end up editing this out too. But there was a guy back in the '80s, and this was back whenever singlets were. Yeah, it was got a little dicey sometimes. So his parts fell out on the ground, and he was actually disqualified. So, but made the lift and everything. So, if the lifter drops the bar before the judge tells the athlete to drop the bar, I did that at my first competition. That will give you 3 reds as well. So, but those are the basic rules. It's really pretty simple. As long as you get the bar up to its ending location in a singular fashion, then you're going to end up having a chance to get 3 white lights or three white flags. Pretty simple. But, fine. Heading into the science aspect, kind of a fun part about Olympic weightlifting is really the science behind it. I think, honestly, Olympic weightlifting paved the way, especially during that early time period where you had the 20s through the 70s, that early time period where you were trying to figure out how to get athletes stronger. And so the people that really paved that way during that time period was the Eastern Bloc, generally Russia, Soviet Union, communist-type countries. So they had the opportunity to do a lot of science and a lot of research in a lot of different areas to figure out what gets people stronger. And I don't think they had all the rules and regulations that we have now in regards to science and research on individuals. But in the end, they ended up coming up with a pretty dang good plan. Eastern Bloc literature really paved the way for really just everything that even we do here in America. It's in other countries, but they found other ways, and we'll talk about other ways to train later on. But it really just paved the way for how we do things in America in regards to strength and conditioning, Olympic weightlifting, and I would even say, Dr. Lane, you can disagree with this maybe, but even powerlifting. I think some of the principles from Eastern Bloc literature really shows in just about every single periodization scheme and everything like that within Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting. So, but Russian sports science showed that adding stress, and this is just very general. There's a lot There's a lot that goes in this last segment or this last little statement that I made, and there's a lot of moving pieces. But pretty much that adding some sort of stressor to the body causes an increase in strength and force production, which in the end, that's what you need. It's a very, very quick movement and takes a lot of force into the ground to actually complete. And it increases the total amount of weight that you can lift on the platform, which is the overall goal. So in the end, you can be the best technically. You can be, you can look as good as possible, but if you can't lift more than the person beside of you, then you're useless in regards to this sport. You may look good, but you got to make sure that you're able to lift the most amount of weight. So I'm not going to get into the steroid use here, but there's that definitely plays a role during this time period. But there was quite a bit of research. And I'm going to show you some of the books that we actually use for some of this Eastern Bloc literature. I actually thought I was teaching to a bioenergetics class, so actually I added some in here. So energy systems, physiology, this is 100% unless you screw up something fierce. 100% phosphocreatine. And I don't know where your class has gotten to, Dr. Lane, but work time generally between 2 and 7 seconds. Generally, if it's anything more, like I said, you screwed up miserably. If it's anything less, then you're not going to make the lift. This accounts for mess ups. So you may see an athlete, and I don't know if I have any videos on this, but you may see an athlete run across the platform to save a rep. You're still doing words within that time period, but generally it's not going to be over 7 seconds of work. Type 2 fibers. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know where you got in your class, but type 2 fibers are for sure the number one usage here. There's going to be a little bit of type 1, but type 2 is going to be your main movers. There's a greater rate and capacity of production of lactic acid. This is just in regards to training. Generally, you're going to see a decent amount of lactic acid production in higher volume with a lot of these Olympic athletes, just due to the fact that they have so many type 2 fibers. Just some nice little science for you, physiology. But that lactic acid production is going to differ depending on the type of athlete that you are, or I'm going to say the stage of athlete that you are. A novice athlete could possibly end up having a little bit more due to the fact that they've never done it before. An advanced athlete is going to take a good bit of volume for them to actually have that very, very large amount of lactic acid production. How to lift. This goes into the positions of the actual lifts, and this is for the snatch and clean and jerk. I'm not going to show these positions, but just definitions. You have your starting position, your position before pulling off the floor. This is generally similar to like a deadlift position. That's generally what I tell all my athletes. But your chest is over the bar. Your knees are over the bar. Generally, they are ranging in front of the bar in some manner, shape, or form. The first pull. This right here is the initiation or the beginning push off the floor for the bar to move upward. Okay. A lot of people say, and I hate the term first pull. It was coined a good few years ago. But I hate the term first pull because it's actually a push. Honestly, it's a pulling movement, but it's actually a push into the ground. But what you're going to do is you're going to push into the ground. That bar starts to move upward, and it's going to reach to your extension point. Okay, and just to show you that extension point, I'll go back a few slides here. This right here is your extension point. Okay, so everything from here working up to here is your first pull. Okay, so now we move into our second pull. All right, the beginning of the pull under the bar. So we've already had an initial pull. All right, so where the bar is moved up to the hip. Now we have what's called your second pull, which is you see the elbows starting to bend, and then now the elbows are under the bar, and then now the elbows are now in front of the bar, all right, as you begin to squat underneath it. That right there is your second pull, okay? And then you have your catch position, and all the catch position is, was just like I was just saying a second ago, right here. Okay, that right there is your catch position. Okay, now for the snatch, a little bit different, but similar concept. You have your first pull to here. You have your second pull. Notice the elbows are now high. Okay, and then you have your elbows under the bar, and then now you have your catch position. All right, and then you stand up actually complete the lift. So the clean and jerk has multiple catch positions because you have a catch initially under the clean, and then you have a catch on the jerk portion as well. Okay, so but same rules apply. There is not multiple movements within the jerk that we're going to go over, but there are multiple catch positions in the clean and jerk. So I put double knee bend question mark just to go over it. A lot of people don't understand what the double knee bend is, and this is a very, very important. I'm actually going to use the board for this, but I'll just explain it. But the double knee bend, you're going to notice here that this athlete, all right, is going to pull the knees back. All right, notice that the knees are pulling back, especially right here. Okay, chest is over the bar, knees are pulled back. You're going to see it's a very, very small change. I might be able to show a little bit more in the previous picture, but a very, very small change from the knees. They kind of push forward a little bit. Okay, so that's the rebending of the knees forward. All right, from here, the athlete extends the knees and gets straight up. That right there is considered your double knee bend. Okay, so knees pull back, they rebend underneath the bar, and then up. Okay, I'll show you if Ilya, which is this guy right here, I'll see if he does it as well. Yeah, you're going to see that quite a bit. All right, so knees are forward, they pull back, they push forward again, and then they come up. Okay, so that's your double knee bend. Now, what this does is this provides for greater force production. So, with the double knee bend done correctly, all right, then you're going to actually have a very, very large amount of force that you can apply to the ground because it's almost like you're jumping. Okay, so just for hypothetical situations, if we have athlete A who is different than Christina, okay, athlete A moves the bar and the knees come back, but she never gets her knees back forward under the bar to jump up. Let's say the knees stay back and it's called an elongated pull. All right, and the bar doesn't stay close. Then what you're actually going to have is that athlete may, and this is just general numbers, this may be incorrect, but athlete A may only generate 1,000 watts of force. Okay, let's just use the term 1,000. Okay, or use the number 1,000 watts. Christina here, and I do not know this by any stretch whatsoever, but just to show you the difference here, is that with her using the double knee bend, she's now going to generate, because the knees are under the bar, she's in a very advantageous position to produce force into the ground, she's going to generate upwards of 2,000 watts of force, okay, because of the fact that there's not an elongated pull and she's using the double knee bend. So it's much more efficient and it causes a very, very larger increase in force production. But there is a question mark there just for the fact that as a coach, do you teach that? Not always. You don't always have to. So that's been a big question in our field. But that is the double knee bend. It most certainly helps in regards to the total weight that you're going to lift. So this moves into our next segment, classes of lifters. Pretty interesting. A lot of people don't understand this. This is just for Olympic weightlifting only. But every single sport that you can think of, you try to reach the highest level. So you have little league, you work up into middle school ball, you worked up into high school ball, you worked up into college. After college, you may play a few years in the minors if you're talking about baseball or hockey. And then after that, you're going to hopefully play in the big time. So that right there, you could consider that sport mastery. You made it. You're at the highest level that you can possibly play. In weightlifting, it's very, very similar. Okay, so you're going to have what's called a novice. All right? A novice is generally a beginner lifter, and this is all strictly based upon tables that are given through Eastern Bloc literature that we were talking about earlier, and what your weight class is and how much weight you do on the snatch and clean jerk. So your novices are going to move very little in the grand scheme of things. Now as you get better, and as your total gets better, so your snatch gets better, your clean and jerk gets better, you're going to move to a class 3. All right, eventually to a class 2, to a class 1. Your candidates for Master of Sport, all right, are generally going to be your people who are competing in like your nationals and your junior worlds and stuff like that. You have Masters of Sport, and then you have International Masters of Sport. These right here are your big dogs. These are your guys that are going to compete in the World Weightlifting Championships and the Olympics every 4 years. So the International Masters of Sport is the overall goal. Your classes, that all depends, or what changes within these classes is really volume and the actual type of training that you do. So within those classes, novice, you're not going to do a whole lot because you're just trying to get better at the actual lifts. All right. As you get down here, you're pretty dang good at what you do. All right. And general strength principles tells us that you're going to have to do a lot with that athlete for them to get better at anything. But those are your classes. Pretty neat. Your International Master of Sport is generally going to be your 77 kilo lifters. I got to go back and check on this, but your 77 kilo lifters are generally going to have a total of 350 kilos. So that's your International Masters of Sport. That's to qualify for International Masters of Sport. So, but that's somewhere right around a 170 snatch, and I'll check my math on this. 350, 270, 100. So about at least a 170 snatch and at least a 180 clean and jerk. So at least that's minimum. So the actual 77 kilo world record total is 380. But before we start watching some videos, the different ways that you train. We talked about Eastern Bloc literature. As we've gone through the years of Olympic weightlifting, we've learned that training different ways can be beneficial. The Russians had it right, but if you look at recent years past, there hasn't been a whole lot of Russians winning gold medals. Is it because of steroid use? Maybe.
I've injured. I've been competed.
I'm not going to go this year. So my back's messed up for some reason. Whatever. The Chinese, the Bulgarians, some of these guys over the past 30, 40 years have developed different ways of training, different ways of lifting. And the overall goal in the end, no matter what, is to get better at snatch and clean and jerk. That's the overall goal. Just to go into a little kind of delve a little bit deeper into how the Russians train and a little bit differently than others. The Russians generally break down the exercises. They do a lot of volume. What I mean by volume is a lot of repetitions, whether it be 2 to 3 reps, where you're going to do anywhere from 6 to 10 sets of an exercise. So that's very, very strenuous. You're going to do a lot of different exercises. So you may have all the snatch and clean and jerk broken down into 5 or 6 different exercises, and you're not going to do the actual full lift. And they do that so they can train their body at different areas of the lift, so they can get stronger at different areas. The Chinese, on the other hand, they do a lot of full lifts, so they may only snatch and clean and jerk and squat, because they know that to be good at snatch and clean and jerking, you have to be good at snatch and clean and jerking. Practice on the full lifts, they have found actually can really, really help in regards to actually getting better at them. Just like playing baseball, you need to actually play baseball to get better at baseball. And you need to take the ground ball to actually get better at fielding ground balls. So very similar concept. The Bulgarians, all they did was snatch, clean, jerk, and squat. That's it. The Chinese do some upper body movements, and that's really outside of snatch and clean and jerk. That's probably the only other movements that they do is just a little bit of upper body work. That's it. But the Russians just incorporate so many ideas. Just to kind of give you an idea here, I brought some books in. But the Russians are going to do, and this is just a random day, power snatches, snatch pulls, snatch pull to knee, front squats, more snatch pulls. There's just a lot of different exercises all within a workout. So rather than just doing snatch and clean, jerk, and squat. So, but those are just some different methods. So one thing that really proves that some of these other methods work, the Chinese have been absolutely unbelievable in regards to competitions over the past 12 years. The past 12 years, the Chinese have crushed gold medals and silver medals. You have a few Russians fitting in bronze, but the Bulgarians are pretty much gone.